summer of 2015, we booked a number of recording sessions with producer and engineer Josh Korody. During these sessions, we recorded demos for Witch Trials and Gallows Hill, which were the first two songs Sean and I wrote that actually sounded like the ideas that we had in our head. These demos eventually got the attention of author and co-founder of Pleasance Records, James Lindsay. But at the time we recorded them, we had no identity, no band name, no direction, not even a Facebook page. Simultaneously, Josh was quickly building a name for himself in the Toronto scene by producing a veritable who's who of local and internationally renowned artists. Josh built his reputation by recording a wide range of bands, from guitar-driven indie pop, shoegaze, dream pop, punk, and hardcore bands, to most recently producing his very own dark techno records. Much like the relationships we have with significant others, friends, family members, and therapists, the nuanced relationship between producer and musician is a constantly evolving bond built on trust, honesty, and the communication of ideas.
We know that we can come in here and just working with you, we'll figure out what kind of needs to be done. But it's like we're comfortable in that sense, but you know when to apply pressure when you have to, and maybe say like, okay, maybe, like with vocals you're great because you always go like, okay, that, tape was good, let's just keep it going, keep it flowing, yeah. And it's like, that's so from the artist perspective, and I think that comes from you being an artist too and a producer, is just like that you know how to kind of navigate that stuff really.
Yeah, I think it can be like I think it inherently does help that situation, but it can also be a little bit interesting on my end because you're kind of getting that step away from the artist, and it's like there might be things that I would totally do the same thing if I was in your situation, but being able to step out of it a little bit, it's so much easier for me to just be like, oh my god, like you have to like shorten that, right? Or just that vocal needs to get tightened or whatever it is. But if I was in your shoes, I could be sitting there just being like, what? No, this is amazing. Like, I'm trying to, often when I'm working with people in the studio, I'm trying to exercise a few different roles. The producer, engineering role, trying to put my head in the artist's vision. And, because sometimes you have to check yourself and be like, okay, I know you think this is a bad idea, but maybe they're right because it is their music, and you do have to see their side of it. Yeah. And also, I try to throw a third view in the mix, which is like what I think people are going to think. I think the more experience you have, you just get more confident in being able to tell when maybe they're not making the best decision.
Yeah, or being
but I
more
also
sure
don't
of your
go
own
totally
opinion.
just like, no, you're going to do everything I say. And I also don't ignore what the world might be thinking. So I try to kind of bring all that to the table, and I think it makes for a really well-balanced work environment.
Yeah, and you don't come in with like tricks or something, or like, oh, this worked on this project, or this worked on that, which we love. Is just it always when we're working with you, it always feels like you're just present. You're always just like you're only listening to what we're working on, and it's like that's from our side. That's all we want, because sometimes we hit walls where we kind of like maybe get a track like 75% or 80% towards where we need it, and we just, I don't know. So Sean and I, sometimes we just don't know what it's missing or whatever, but we'll always say like, you know what, if the core is good enough, then we'll bring it to Josh, and you'll kind of help us find that thing that's not there, or what we
and I think especially for you guys, like it makes a lot of sense being that it's two people.
After hearing the demos, James Lindsay decided to release our debut cassette, Rites and Ritual. So in early 2016, we went back to Candle to finish recording.
What do you remember from, say, like when we did the cassette, the Rites and Ritual, and like when I think about those, I think about you like doing all the crazy toms for like Heretic and stuff. We have some ideas, and we did have a bit of a vision, but it's still like, I don't know, do we just use electronic drums, do we play real drums on them, and then we just kind of like mash them all together?
Totally. And then I think in those early stages, you might have you could end up like in a situation like that where it ends up being a more bold decision, and I think because you're feeling each other out, and it's not always going to be the right one. Sometimes it really works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it was just that was the thing we did in that moment, and it made sense. And and sometimes the thing that we would have done in earlier days, maybe it wasn't the thing that works now, but maybe it was also just the thing that worked in that moment. And things move so fast. Styles change and technology changes.
Yeah.
Even in the last few years, like rock bands are almost like I hardly ever record a rock band these days. Like it's a lot of bands have backing tracks now and synthesizers and drum machines. Like things move really fast. So you just go. It's and you're always trying to stay ahead.
That's the thing.
That's the other. A lot of people that do this stuff and do it for at least the amount of time that I've been doing it or longer are a little bit crazy. We're creative types too, right?
Yeah.
And some people have called me like a mad scientist before, so it's like you have to also kind of get used to how I work and as well as how this person works.
Yeah, I think
even just the way we communicate, and if we're jokey or if we're not jokey, if we're how sensitive we are to like saying certain things about each other's music or the decisions that we're making.
Yeah.
There's an often paraphrased quote from the French poet and philosopher Paul Valéry, who said, "A work of art is never truly completed, but abandoned. And this abandonment of the book to the fire or to the public, whether due to wariness or to a need to deliver it for publication, is a sort of accident, comparable to the letting go of an idea."